It's been a silent summer for Auston Matthews. Should we expect a slow start to the season?
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leafs centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. A few things to get into today. Got a fun little Auston Matthews conversation we got to get into. We're going to power rank something as well, Dave. Center duos in the NHL. The Athletic put out an article ranking the duos. I thought they had the Maple Leafs far too low. So we'll have that discussion. Rogers and Amazon Prime reach a new agreement on their broadcasting deal. So a few things to get into. But I want to start with Auston Matthews. I do want to start there because we were kind of chatting on Monday's show about him and, wondering where's he at with his rehab. It's been eerily silent when it comes to Auston Matthews and his rehab. Like typically you hear a lot about, stars in the NHL, how they're doing for their rehabs and timelines, and not so much for Auston Matthews. Like it's been such a busy summer for the Maple Leafs. It feels like it's been kind of silent for him. And we all know that he obviously had was it MCL surgery after the knee from Radko Gudas. He was expected to be out 12 to 16 weeks, which is past that now. Do we even know kind of how healthy Auston Matthews is at this point? Like, where's your confidence level that he's going to be 100% to start camp?
I mean, I haven't really seen a lot. I don't think I've seen any videos of him on the ice working out. And we don't know how the whole recovery process is. Auston Matthews has been very, what's the best way to say? He keeps things close to him in terms of his recovery and what he does. We've seen in the past workouts he's done in Arizona and all this and that. But the only time I've seen Matthews in a video in public was for the draft, and he wasn't there. So, it's been pretty radio silent. I know Matthews does like to keep things a little private, and that's why he does go to Arizona to do it. I mean, he's also from there, so he gets to go back to his home state. I get that, but yeah, it's been very quiet on that front. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, and it's not that I guess I'm not concerned yet. We'll see what happens come training camp. But and I know that the expectation is he's supposed to be 100% for training camp, but that's only 6 weeks away at this point. It's getting there, and this is usually about the time where players start to get back into the gym, get back out onto the ice, and start to prepare so that they're not a lazy tub of garbage when they hit the ice come training camp, and when they have to get bag skated those first few days, they're not puking up their guts the whole time. Just kind of peculiar that there hasn't been really any updates all summer on Auston Matthews, and considering what he means to the team and his success to the team, I do find it kind of peculiar. And another point that I think maybe we haven't touched on a whole lot so far this year. We keep looking at the team and looking ahead, thinking okay, we like what the team has done, what they've added, new coach, new system. That should all work in the favor of Auston Matthews, right? What they've done by bringing in Jim Hiller, by bringing in Gavin McKenna as another top six option, bringing in Darren Raddysh should help Auston Matthews get a little bit more space on the power play. They've done a lot to get Matthews back to the player that he was a couple of years ago. The only thing that I'm a little bit, I don't want to say I'm not concerned about it just yet, but maybe just something to think about with the fact that he has not had a full offseason to get ready. Could he maybe get off to a bit of a slow start, and how much of a killer that could be for the Maple Leafs? If that knee, not to say that it's going to hinder him, but we see it all the time where, it takes players half a season coming off of a big offseason surgery and injury like that to get back to full strength. For Auston Matthews, considering what's kind of on the line for the Maple Leafs this year, coming off the year that they had, I'm not sure that he's going to be afforded, that much time. He's going to have to be a beast off the get-go, or the questions of whether or not the coaching, the system, can he get back to being the player he was? If he doesn't come out and score 4 or 5 goals in the first 7 games of the season, I do feel as though that conversation is going to get real loud. But coming off a knee surgery and with it being a new coach, new systems, could be a slow start for Auston Matthews to start the season. And I think that would raise a lot of alarm bells if that is the case.
The thing is, we've only ever remember Auston Matthews being the fast starter, right? How many seasons has he, it was one year where he had, 2 or 3 hat-tricks within the first couple weeks of the season? We've never, other than maybe last year, Auston Matthews has always been the opposite. He's always been the guy to get off the blaze start, kind of set the tone. I do think if I know how the Leafs are probably going to play this, they're probably going to manage his workload, especially training camp. Let's not forget there's not as many preseason games. There are 2 more regular season games you have to think about when you're talking about, our players going to play all 84 games and all that stuff. I do think there's going to be a bit of management with this injury. I'm sure with a new front office as well, they're going to do, there's always changes of how player management is done as well. I do think they probably are going to take things a bit slower with him. I don't know how that will impact the start to a season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think you're going to see them. I expect that they're not going to ramp him up quickly. They're going to take their time with this.
Yeah. And if they need to take their time with it, the easy way to do it, take them off the penalty kill. The investments you made into the bottom 6, right? Those guys can kill penalties. That's kind of what you brought them in to do, realistically, right? You don't have to have Auston Matthews, exacerbating himself on the PK. And obviously you could take away some defensive responsibilities as well by, playing your bottom 6 in the D zone far more often, which it obviously would also relieve a little bit of stress on that surgically repaired knee and, just free him up to lighten the load, I suppose. So both in minutes and responsibilities, maybe that's a way you could curtail that potentially if it is a Hey, look, again, this is just me talking pie in the sky. This, not worst case scenario, but this would be, an unideal situation. Ideally comes back to camp and he's completely fine. But if this situation occurs where it's a little bit of a slow start, I think that maybe don't get, if you're a Leaf fan, don't judge him based on his first 6, 7, 8 games. I think that it's very possible that it could take him, maybe 15, 16 games into the season before, he's back to, 100%, and that knee's feeling completely fine. And he's grooving in the new system, and the power play gets cooking and clicking. That's all I'm saying is maybe, don't overreact if it's a slower start for Matthews. Maybe it's not. Maybe he gets off to a blazing start and he's feeling great. That'd be awesome for the Leafs, obviously. Just kind of a point that I don't think we've really talked about and had much conversation on. Thought it was worth kind of bringing up the what if scenario for Auston Matthews. And again, we don't know where the knee is at. We don't know how his rehab has gone, if he's been on the ice, if he hasn't been, at what point does he plan on getting onto the ice? Is it, just a strength building thing? We'll find out, in the next 6 weeks when training camp opens up. We're assuming he'll be ready to go, but we don't know for sure. That is, Auston Matthews is a player who traditionally ranks very high on a lot of listicles, ranked a little lower on this latest list that was sent out by The Athletic today on the website. Let's come back. I want to have that debate. If it was too high, too low, or just right. We'll chat about that next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's going to hit a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think is going to hit a home run in their game today. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with everyday games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. There's a certain players where every at-bat feels like something big could happen. That's what makes Daily Dingers fun. You get to back the player you think can go deep each and every day. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti with you as we are each and every weekday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the duration of the summer. Then once training camp comes back, we'll be back to 5 days a week. You can find us wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple. You can also subscribe to the show on YouTube as well. So yeah, I was, opened up the Athletic app like I usually do every morning, see if there's anything new to read. I'm a big subscriber, big fan of the Athletic. I like a lot of the writers there. I think they're, some good writing, some good analysis. And there was a list that was written by Harmon Dial, who I respect Harmon a lot. I think he does a lot of great work with the Athletic and writes, very well. A lot of good articles with the Vancouver Canucks. He did an article today, Dave, called Every NHL Team's Top 6 Center Duos Ranked from Best to Worst. Where do you think the Leafs ranked?
I would maybe say middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack? You think the Leafs are middle of the pack?
I don't think they are, but I'm thinking.
Where do you think they are then?
They should be like top. Like I think they should be top 8. Top 8.
I think they're higher than that. We're talking about just the top 2 centers. Like we're talking Auston Matthews. And
but there's a lot of people who are down on John Tavares, and some people are down on Auston Matthews. I'm not. I think that people always are always harsh on the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I if I had to say my piece, they'd be top 5. I know who would be considered the top 3, and I don't think they would put the Leafs in there.
Here, I'll give you. So obviously McDavid, Leon.
Yeah,
that's 1-2. It's not even. Like, no conversation there. That's
and I'm assuming McKinnon. I guess they're gonna put Brock Nelson.
Yeah, so they got McKinnon and Brock Nelson.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this: Barkov and Bennett, or would you rather have Matthews and Tavares?
I would rather have Matthews and Tavares because there's the upside there. Bennett did very well for them in the playoffs, but if you're asking me over a full season, which I'd rather have, I'd probably rather have Matthews and Tavares.
Yeah, and they had Bennett and Barkov ranked higher than them. Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, they had ranked higher than them. I think I can get on board with that. I can certainly get on board with Hughes and Hischier.
Yeah, especially if Hughes is healthy. That, me, if people are down on Matthews because of the injuries, then you have to give Jack Hughes the same treatment.
This is the one that really bothered me. So, I thought Barkov and Bennett were, on the fence. I think you can make the argument either way, right? I think you could. The one that bothered me, and I get it, it's Macklin Celebrini and Michael Misa. And I get it. There's a lot of love for Macklin Celebrini. He could potentially be a top 3 talent in the NHL already. It's very possible that he's got there. Certainly top 10 player in the NHL, maybe even top 5. He's in that 5 to 10 range for sure. But to have him and unproven Michael Misa ahead of Tavares and Matthews, to me, was just asinine. That is the one that I would certainly push back on.
They're putting Celebrini on such a pedestal that like it does. I mean, clearly it doesn't matter who they put at number 2. Like, and to me that's wrong because like as highly touted as Michael Misa is as a prospect and as a young player, he's shown me nothing.
No,
since coming to the league. And I know some people are going to try to give flack because I know there's a lot of people who watch these guys in juniors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we're talking about if you're taking, every team's giving you their top 2 centers. And as good as Macklin Celebrini is, if a team goes, well, if we can just focus our attention on stopping Macklin Celebrini, we are not worried about what Michael Mies is going to do because he hasn't proven that he's a player you should be worried about on a nightly basis. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, I mean, he could very well break out into that, and yeah, it's possible that I suppose like Harmon is projecting in a way and just assuming that Misa has this breakout that some pundits are expecting for him to have in his second full season in the NHL. But I just, in good conscience, can't do it yet. Like, you need to show me, right? Like, I need to see it to believe it, and I'll take John Tavares, and it just. For one season, like, sure, moving forward, I think you like the duo of Celebrini and Misa moving forward. But if I'm just taking the overall body of work, like going into this upcoming season, I'd feel probably more comfortable with the Matthews and Tavares duo than I would with Celebrini and Misa. And don't get me wrong, Celebrini at this point, like, you could argue is the better player than Auston Matthews. He certainly was last year. Definitely was last year. He needs to repeat it, right? Like Auston Matthews at one point, there was a conversation about him and McDavid being a 1A, 1B. Like that discourse was there the year that, Auston scored 60 and won the Ted Lindsay and the Hart and completely swept all the awards. Like Matthews was in that conversation at one point. The injuries, the coaching situation, whatever's caused him to fall off these last 2 years, he's not in that conversation anymore. But he could get there. He could get back to being a top 5 player in the league. Absolutely, he can, and rival, what Macklin Celebrini did last year. I think it's very possible. And then I'll take Tavares over Misa. So for me, that was the one that I, kind of wanted to pick at a little bit. I'll give you a couple others. You let me know who you'd rather: Matthews and Tavares or Eichel and Bill Karlsson.
I would still take Matthews and Tavares.
Yeah,
Karlsson's a good center. But again, like in a lot of cases, he's been known as their number 3 center, right? Or even like Mitch Marner played center quite a bit because they needed him to play center. I know Karlsson was hurt for part of the time last year, but he hasn't been the same Karlsson that was there when they, from the original Misfits Vegas team, right? His play is kind of teetered off too. Like, I think people, again, underestimate just how much Tavares is still bringing it as a second line center. I understand people would rather upgrade at that position, but if you ask a lot of teams, they would take John Tavares as their second line center.
Absolutely. Like, the guy still had 30 goals last year. 30 goals, 71 assists. Like, is back. Like, basically, he had his last 4 years, 36 goals, 29. He had 38 2 years ago, and then 31 last year. Like, the guy's just consistently for the last 5 seasons has been in and around a point per game. Like, consistently, 30-plus goal scorer consistently. Even as he continues to age, like he's now 35, but the way he plays, he's so smart and cerebral, especially in and around the net. He's still a great player, man. And I think that there's like, could the wheels fall off? Sure. But right now, I think there's like still pretty good 1-2 punch. Now they need to figure it out moving forward. It's not a guy who I think, you can rely on to be a top 6 center 2-3 years from now, right? When that contract is ending. But for right now, I think the Leafs are in a pretty good spot when you look at your top two. Could you upgrade at 3C? Yeah, probably. Like Nick Paul, we'll see what he ends up doing. Maybe it's Colton Sissons. We'll see who ends up winning that 3C job. But, top two, Matthews, Tavares, it's been among the elite in the league for the last, 7 years, 8 years. I think it still will be in the top 10 at the very least, certainly top 10. And, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I thought that the placement was, I don't know, not like egregious, but I did think that they got slighted a little bit to the young San Jose grouping. So I wanted to kind of bring that to your attention. Who do you think was the worst center duo in the NHL?
The worst.
Yeah. Oof, that's tough. Yeah.
Columbus?
No, I mean Columbus has Adam. Like
Fantilli's good, but I'm not
pretty good. Pretty good.
Because Boone Jenner's gone. Who's their number 2 now?
It's a good question, actually. Where are they ranked? They can't be ranked that high, I wouldn't think.
You got Fantilli and Monahan. Sean Monahan's not bad. Okay.
Yeah, Sean. Coyle as well. They're like almost middle of the pack. We got Morgan Frost and Michael Backlund.
Oh yeah, the Flames. Yeah, I probably should have thought about the Flames.
Dude, they got Matty Beniers and Chandler Stevenson as the second worst. That's a fall from grace for Matty Beniers.
Matty Beniers was a top 5 pick, wasn't he?
Dude, he was number 2 overall. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. He was a big pick back in the day. And Chandler Stevenson was a
big signing for we thought about the Leafs maybe going after Chandler Stevenson, and then he got $7 million a year. And we're yeah.
Yeah. And then since then, he has not produced at all since going over to Seattle. But yeah, it's a fun little list if anyone wants to go and take a look at it and kind of see where things are at. They got the Bruins pretty low, which makes me happy. They got Pavel Zacha, and then they have Fraser Minton as like the next guy, which doesn't make me as happy to see Fraser Minton in there. So yeah, go take a peek at that if you want on The Athletic. Subscribe to The Athletic. Always subscribe to local, good local coverage like that. All right, on the other side, speaking of local coverage, there's a lot more national coverage of the sport coming to you guys. Amazon Prime on Wednesdays. Let's talk about that deal that was announced on Wednesday. We'll get to that next in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti. A couple things that we got to get into before we get out of here for the day, Dave. Before we get to the Amazon stuff, Zach Hyman held his annual charity golf tournament in Toronto, and Mike Babcock, a common person of interest from the media when they were asking him. I felt like he dominated the discourse. Him and a couple questions about Gavin McKenna I did hear. Someone asked McDavid about McKenna. He's like, yeah, I don't know much about him, which I thought was kind of funny. But lots of Babcock discourse.
Yeah, he's a good kid. Don't know a thing about him, but good kid.
Yeah, good kid. Good kid. I'm sure Babs would say the same thing. Good kid, good Canadian boy. But yeah, the Oilers seem pretty stoked about Babs as the coach, or at least the players they asked about him. So, the guys who brought him in, so that makes sense, the Zach Hymans of the world and the Connor McDavids of the world who played a big role in getting Babs to Edmonton. I'm still very intrigued by how that's all gonna play out here for Edmonton. In a way, I want it to blow up in their face, but I think that there could be some success there. I really do. Mainly because I have more faith in the team and the players and the coach. But I think
having Connor McDavid certainly makes your life a lot easier.
And Leon and Evan Bouchard and Zach Hyman, and it's a
goaltending still, Bab still doesn't have a goalie.
Freddie. And brought in Freddie, right? You got Fred Anderson. You got
that is a reunion there for him. He's had
another reunion. So Freddie and Devin Levi. We'll see what that looks like. I don't think it's a terrible goaltender duo.
Well, I'm sure better than what they've had.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely. I mean, Freddie Anderson was like a front runner for the Conn Smythe through 2.5 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So yeah, we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, kind of funny how Mike Babcock back in the news cycle. Classic. Always going to be a topic of conversation, especially here in the city of Toronto. What was the other thing? Leafs-wise, Tyler Hopkins, who was a draft pick by the Maple Leafs last year, 3rd-round pick, has been invited to the World Junior Summer Showcase Camp. Funny enough, omitted from the World Junior Selection Camp, Gavin McKenna, however. So what does that tell you? They're not expecting McKenna to go back to Penn State or to go to the AHL or to be loaned to Team Canada. They don't even want him at camp. They already know. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't be expecting Gavin McKenna to be available. No. It would be that'd be my thought, but again, not having him at camp, that they've already kind of made that determination is interesting.
Do you remember if Schaefer was there last year?
I don't think so.
I don't remember if he was either. Yeah, I'm not sure if he was. But anyways, either way, the returning players, including, I don't know where that came from here. Maybe they were. Maybe he was. But either way, no Gavin McKenna. So they're not expecting him to be with Team Canada at the World Juniors next year. He will be a Maple Leaf. All right. So Amazon Prime, Dave, now going to be broadcasting games not only on Mondays, but apparently Wednesdays now as well. That was an as well purchase, right? Not just a changing of dates.
Yeah, no. That was on top of they're also taking
the Monday.
So they're gonna have 2 what's called now primetime games. First it was Wednesday night hockey was a prime time.
Monday night. They have Monday night.
Well, what I mean by national game. Sorry, and Wednesday used to be the national game, along with Saturday. Then they added Monday with prime, so that was considered another national game. So now Monday and Wednesday will be the national games for prime. For prime hockey, and then Saturday will remain with Sportsnet.
And then
that wasn't even that was, as you're probably going to mention, that wasn't the big part of the news for me.
Right.
Playoff games.
Yes. So they also will be receiving 3 playoff games per year, 2 in the first round, and they will get 1 second round series as well. I'll be curious to see if they have a say, if it's going to be a Canadian team that they're going to have. Well, I guess if there's no Canadian team, I guess they don't really have that much of a say. But I'll be curious what this means. Are these games going to be exclusively on Prime for the playoffs? It didn't specify exclusive when it talked about playoff games. It did specify it for the Wednesday games. So I am assuming that Sportsnet will still air the games that Amazon will also have. I think we're just going to see competing broadcasts.
I think it's going to, well, you got to think about this. If you look at the way that the Stanley Cup playoffs have been done, Sportsnet will produce a couple of their games.
Yeah.
And then they would take the feed from ESPN or TNT.
Yeah.
So my guess is that Amazon will be producing those other 2 rounds, and then in the second round, Sportsnet will produce theirs. Amazon or Sportsnet will produce the 2 that they're going to do. Amazon's going to do the 1, and then I think that would mean a couple more will be done with American Broadcast. So, I think that's that. Instead of Sportsnet having to produce 4 in the first round and 3 in the second round, they reduce the numbers that they're going to be producing themselves.
Yeah.
That's how I understand it.
No, I think that does make more sense. How that is going to be the case. I guess like the question is like, how, I don't know, like that. Is this good? Is this good for the game that we're seeing? Like,
I mean, look, I'll say this. I know I work for sports, so what I'll say is, you look at how other sports are doing. Like the NFL is a staple, right? They've understood what makes sports media work. Like the media deals work well. Although there's been some questions about their current dealings with ESPN right now, and that whole deal with NFL Network merging with them and all that.
Yeah.
But like you've got CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN. You got 4 networks that get their chance to do it their way and do it
on top of Netflix, on top of
Netflix and Prime as well.
Prime, and I think there's one other one too. And,
YouTube.
Yeah, like I think there maybe is a YouTube game in there somewhere. There's a plethora of production.
I've never had an issue with something another take. Prime games have been done pretty well, right? I like the way the format is. I like when things are a little different. I will admit that. I know there's some people who are like, well, if you don't have Prime, like that becomes a headache. To me, it's like if you look at how much it actually costs to have an Amazon Prime account, it's worth it. Like it's funny because like I've had Amazon Prime because of the delivery stuff. Now, when I was a student, it was at a reduced cost, and when I saw that it was no longer a student rate, I was like, damn, kind of wish that wasn't the case. But like, I don't know. I know a lot of people are upset. Like there's this thing about now having to add another subscription service. I totally get that. But with the way that I think the people that really will kind of be not happy about it are more the bars, because then they gotta like stream those games to like it's a little more of a headache. I've seen bars struggle with it.
Well, I tell you what, when I would go out to the bar or whatever, go out for like chicken wings with some buddies on a Monday, hoping to watch the Leaf game if they were on the Amazon Monday stream, and sure enough, the bars weren't showing it. Like you're in Southern Ontario, there's a Leaf game going on, you're at a sports bar eating chicken wings, and you're watching some silly sport, like probably watching just replays of something going on at that point. So
what I'll say about this is that now like Bell and Rogers are getting a lot more creative when it comes to people who want to have these streaming services but not pay the full price. So they're doing these bundle deals. I don't know if Prime will ever be a part of that. No. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of way where you can get Prime and maybe you don't pay what it costs. For me, it's just like I got Prime. I've always had it, so it was never really that big of a deal. But I can understand somebody who's never had Prime before, and it's just like, now I got to get Prime. It's a bit more annoying, and I totally get that.
Yeah. Well, now you got Prime. Prime producing games on Mondays and Wednesdays. You got TSN producing
the
regional games. But they also do get the odd national game on, I think it's Tuesdays and Sundays usually is like, or they, well, it's usually, I guess, Toronto regional, I suppose. And then obviously Sportsnet taking up the rest. So it's like 3 different networks you got to watch to watch your hockey, to watch your games.
I mean, it is
Leaf fan. That is like literally 3 different networks that you're watching, or even Habs. I think Flames and what Habs, Flames, Sens, Leafs are all like TSN properties, whereas like Oilers, Canucks, and Flames usually are Sportsnet properties.
What I'll say is, it ain't as bad as being a soccer fan, because you're screwed. You have to get Fubo, DAZN, and That one is more ridiculous in my opinion than at least the cable ones. I understand. I know a lot of people are upset with prices increasing, all this stuff. I truly get it. You just it's just about finding balance and making it work. Some people I know share. They find ways to cut the cost by sharing the packages.
Yeah.
In a way that's legal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. David, a Sportsnet employee, says, yeah. Anyway.
I'm still one of those dinosaurs that actually still has a cable box.
I do as well. Yeah, I do as well, and it's literally just for
kind of needed for my job, but no.
Yeah. I mean, I just to watch live sports as opposed to streaming it, and they're always like 40 seconds behind. You end up getting the notification before the goal happens. You get pissed off about it. Trust me. Yeah, when Tavares scored the game winner, the Game 6 game winner, I was streaming it. I had a package, but I didn't have a cable box, but I did have a Sportsnet package, so I was streaming the game, and my phone started buzzing. Well, the goal hadn't happened yet, so I knew something good or something bad was about to happen. And sure enough, Tavares turned, scores, sent the Leafs through, and they were happy buzzes. But there's been some piss-offs too, where you're watching, you get the notification that the other team scored in overtime. You're like, darn it, and then 8 seconds later, it shows up on your screen.
I will say the streaming has gone a lot better with those delays.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're always going to have those issues when it comes to streaming. Won't be as immediate as the live cable. All right, Dave, we'll leave it there. Thanks to everyone for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at @D_Morassutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back with another episode for you guys on Friday. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.